Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of our general meeting for fall semester 2024. I am Janelle Hay Nelson. Please remember to follow us on our social media pages on YouTube, DCSNCU TV, on Instagram, DCS_NCU, and on Facebook, DCS at NCU. This is our final general meeting for this semester, and our theme is integrity versus incentive. What is your price? In today's general meeting, we'll be having the debate and argumentation class for fall 2020, and they'll be debating the motion which says, this House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. Before we begin anything else, we will begin with devotion, and our devotion will be led out by Akaiwa Green.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, have you ever been in a meeting or in any, setting that you had a great idea to give to everyone, but you felt hesitant to share it? Or have you ever pulled away from what could have been a good friendship, a great opportunity, due to a feeling of insecurity? Our shyness, fears, and insecurities can hold us back and keep us from achieving our full potentials in all aspects of our lives. We may see others who are able to handle situations like public speaking or approaching others calmly and wish we could be like them. Today, we'll be talking about confidence. If we don't see these qualities in ourselves, it can be hard to believe that we can ever develop them or be as good. Confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a belief. It's the belief and affirmation that you are valuable, worthwhile, and capable. That you are valuable, worthwhile, and capable with some optimism added in it. Your value is not defined in what the world says about you. God created you in his own image, and he wants you to value yourself the way he sees you. He is a God of immense love and tender mercy. I like to call it the God confidence, believing that God will help you through. So put your trust in him and not yourself, and he will help you to be more confident. Let us pray. Most righteous and eternal Father, as we come here to you today, we want to thank you for everything. Thank you for everything that you have done for each and every one of us. As we're about to go into today's proceedings, I ask that you bless us with more confidence, allow us to execute today's activities effectively, and continue to praise and worship your holy name. In your most righteous and holy name I pray. Amen.
This House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. I'm going to invite the Prime Minister to go to the podium. Jordine Tucker, while she goes up, your adjudicators for this match are yours truly, Janelle Hay Nelson, and beside me is Mr. Brian Cuff. And also joining us is Miss Akaiwa Green. Each speaker has 5 minutes with which to present their arguments, with the first and last 30 seconds being protected time, which means no points of information should be exchanged during this time. Debaters, are you ready? Okay. Madam Prime Minister, you may begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, and all participating parties, I want you for a minute to close your eyes and imagine this with me. A mother says to her son, "Johnny, go clean up the plates." Johnny does what? He goes to clean up the plates. Here's another story. A mother says to her daughter, "Sarah, go clean your room." Sarah does what? She goes to clean her room. Ladies and gentlemen, Our party believes that this house believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise in one's integrity. Now, what is integrity? The quality of being honest and having strong principles. One can say that having such integrity would imply that, okay, you're saying, fine, this is what I want to do for myself. But I want us all to pay attention to a couple things. The first one is having the ability of choice. Really, having the ability of choice ensures that you as the person get to choose what you're interested in, what you're not interested in, and delegate tasks to make sure that, okay, I can do this, someone else can do that, and it ensures that everyone around you know exactly what they're doing. See, the problem, the thing with delegating tasks is that one understands that, okay, what needs to be done can get done. When you delegate tasks, you get to separate yourself from the various things you want to do to something else someone else wants to do. Now, I shared this story at the very first because I want to pinpoint something. That John and Sarah, they made a choice. Their choice was to clean the plates or clean up their room. This is something that helped them in the long run. See, having these abilities ensure that in the future, one can say, oh, I learned to do this because I did this, or I did not learn to do this because I did this. See, it's all about having the ability of choice. Now, this allows one to build your interest. So all of us can say that, okay, we're interested in something in our life. Some may say painting, some may say sports, some may say dancing. But if you did not have the choice, you wouldn't have been able to say, okay, could I have chosen that route? Maybe someone else wanted you to do math instead of sports. Imagine that you're not good at math, but they forced you into that position. See, ladies and gentlemen, the ability of choice. I will end by saying, having the ability of choice ensures that one is honest with themselves and one does not compromise one's integrity for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our Prime Minister, Ms. Jordi Tuckle. We're now going to invite the opposition leader, Tajel Coley, to bring her arguments to this debate. Hear, hear.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. Now, today, as the leader of opposition, I strongly oppose the motion before us. This House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. The Prime Minister mentioned having the ability of choice. Having the ability of choice. So you choose to accept the job and burden someone else with your workload because it's convenient. You know, integrity is not merely the absence of wrongdoing. It is about upholding ethical principles. It's about maintaining transparency and, of course, showing accountability in all of our action. Paying someone else to do your job undermines these values, and it is the lack of accountability and ethical conduct that we, on this side of the House, seek to address. Not at this time. When you accept a position, whether in the workplace, in public service, or in any other capacity, you're entrusted with duties and responsibilities, obligations. You are entrusted, which means that it is your responsibility to complete. Paying someone else to fulfill these responsibilities for you is at its core an abdication of that trust. You are breaking that trust. First, let us be clear. Paying others to do your job goes beyond mere delegation. I know the other side will mention delegation, but delegation, when done responsibly, involves entrusting tasks that are within your scope of responsibility to others who are qualified to assist. Now, let's consider the following implications. Number one, a lack of accountability. When you pay someone to do your work, you're no longer accountable for the outcomes of your decisions. This creates a dangerous precedent for individuals, you're unable to you can avoid the consequence of their actions by shifting blame or responsibility onto others. So this lack of accountability in any environment, be it in business, politics, or education, undermines the trust that is essential to our institutions. My second point, lack of standards as a professional, Madam Prime Minister. Now, I realize that you are saying that it is acceptable to pay someone else to do your job, but what happens to the standard of excellence in our professions? If individuals can simply delegate all their duties to others, what does that say about their dedication to their craft, or what it is that they do about their commitment to the quality of their work? It sends a message that one can buy their way out of responsibility, and in doing so, it diminishes the standards by which we measure our success. So I know the government may argue that this is simply a matter of convenience or efficiency, but we must ask, at what cost this convenience may come?
Point of information.
Go ahead, Madam Prime Minister.
You talk a lot about success, but my question here is, does success equal what you can do or what you can make of yourself?
Repeat that question.
Does success Does success equal what you can do or what others can do for you?
All right, when we talk about success, or when I talk about success for myself, I talk about the work that I am qualified to do, the work that I can complete, not the work that persons do for me in order for me to look good. I'm talking about integrity. I'm talking about doing things because I can do it and I'm qualified to do it and I'm hired to do it, not paying others to do it so I can look good. I'm talking about my work. So, in conclusion, paying someone else to do your job does in fact compromise your integrity. It is an abdication of personal responsibility, a breach of accountability, and a weakening of the professional standards that sustain our institutions. We, on this side of the House, we urge you to reject this motion. Integrity cannot be bought. It must be earned and maintained through honest, responsible action. Thank you.
Thank you too to our opposition leader, Tajel Tucker. We now hear from our deputy, Tashel Coley. I'm so sorry, miss. I won't give you another name again. We're going to now hear from our Deputy Prime Minister, Michaela Lewis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion. This House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. So my team member, the Prime Minister, has already outlined the fundamental principles of integrity and choice. I will further demonstrate why paying someone to do your job is not a betrayal of integrity, but rather a responsible and ethical decision in certain circumstances. So paying someone to perform a task does not mean you are being dishonest. If the arrangement is made transparently and the expectations are clear, it does not compromise integrity. For instance, consider a business leader who delegates tasks to specialized consultants or freelancers. The leader isn't pretending they did the work themselves. They are simply ensuring the job gets done by someone better equipped or with more time. So this transparency ensures that honesty remains intact and the focus is placed on results rather than individual effort. So integrity, accepted.
All right, so are you saying that when we do have somebody working, you paying them means they are 100% qualified? What if on their end they believe that they are not qualified, but you are saying that they ought to be paid for this job?
Sorry, please repeat.
So the question is, you are saying that on your end, you are paying somebody you believe they are qualified for the job. What if on the other end the person is saying that they are not qualified, but you are saying they have to do the job?
So that's a valid concern, but it doesn't reflect an issue of integrity because it reflects a failure to choose the right person for the task. So integrity lies in ensuring that the person you hire is competent and qualified. So paying someone unqualified would be irresponsible, but it's not inherent to the act of paying someone itself. So it's a matter of poor judgment, and it's not a compromise of integrity. Did I answer your question? Integrity is not about doing everything yourself. It's about ensuring the job is done properly, perfectly, while maintaining honesty and openness about the process. Madam Speaker, paying someone to do your job can often be the most efficient and productive choice. Delegation and outsourcing are essential tools in any professional or personal setting to meet deadlines, optimize resources, and ensure success.
Points of information?
Sorry. Decline. Setting to meet deadlines, optimize resources, and ensure success. So imagine a scenario where a person is juggling multiple responsibilities and hires someone to handle certain tasks to meet all commitments. Does this mean that they lack integrity? Absolutely not. It shows foresight and the ability to prioritize. So we live in a world that demotes efficiency. Integrity should not be equated with overburdening yourself. Instead, it's about making responsible decisions and uphold commitments and deliver results, even if that means paying someone to assist. Personal and professional integrity are upheld as long as the process is transparent and the delegation is done ethically with respect for the person hired. Madam Speaker, paying someone to do your job does not compromise integrity. Instead, it reflects honesty through transparency, responsibility through prioritization, and ethics through fair delegation. Integrity is not about doing everything yourself.
It's about
declined. It's about ensuring the job is done well while maintaining ethical and honest practices. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our Deputy Prime Minister, Ms. Michaela Lewis. We will now hear from the Deputy Opposition Leader, Mr. Prince Hartley.
With all protocols observed, good afternoon. We go straight into the already established motion. Now, of course, supporting my Leader of Opposition, she had mentioned accountability and standards. Now, on the other end, we had our opposition, or our Deputy Prime Minister, making reference to ethical practices. Now, when we look into what we experience, we have to understand that you have to always be able to take accountability for what you do. Adding to that, there is some component of trust that must be maintained. Now, if you are employed to do a certain job, we are expecting that you would complete this task by yourself with supporting team. We're not expecting that you are going to now depend on somebody else on the lower end to execute this by being a soft hand on the shoulder.
Point of information.
Decline. Reasons for this is because you have a professional standard to maintain. You do not want to breach your professional ethical standards. You have to go directly into what you have done. Most professional roles come with these explicit and impartial ethical standards. You have to ensure that you go straight through to this. Now, to other misinterpreted efforts, you want to make sure that the efforts and the ability matching towards the accountability, it stands clear. You do not want to have yourself in a position of paying somebody to do their job while falsely claiming the credit and doing the work. You have to be steadfast. Accepted?
Asking someone to do your job and then them failing, how does that, because does that really portray on integrity, or does that portray on just lack of personal choices and awareness of what you're doing?
Now, we maintain, of course, integrity. You stand still on the integrity. If I should flip the script and you are given that you have been the person who initially got the task to do, if you fail the task, you would have to take accountability.
If the other person should fail the task, will you still maintain that accountability, being that you paid them to do the job? You would. Point proven. So, moving on once again to say why I say integrity you have to maintain on this point, of course. Now, to add one more point, the whole idea of having the whole ideation of violation of your trust and accountability, this can lead into the wrong direction. You want to make sure that violation of anything set out as a leader or as the person set before the bar, you have to maintain and hold strong-heartedly to this. In conclusion, I just want to add to say that your area, whatever you do, it creates level of dependency. You maintain a good image, and you want to make sure that you are competent, and being that you are assigned this task, you maintain the recognition and the rewards for yourself. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hartley. We're now going to hear from our government member, Mr. Malik Thompson.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I rise in firm support of the motion that this House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. Now, the opening government has laid out their arguments emphasizing the ability of choice, personal circumstances that might prevent someone from fulfilling their responsibilities, and the potential benefits of delegating tasks to others. So I will now extend their arguments and solidify our position by discussing how delegation under certain circumstances does not undermine one's integrity, but can rather be an expression of responsible leadership and strategic decision making. So first, I would like to reiterate that integrity is not synonymous with doing every task oneself. Integrity in the context of the workplace or personal responsibilities is about adherence to principles, honesty, and ethical conduct. So it does not require that a person personally carries out every single aspect of their job. Instead, it focuses on the fulfillment of their duties with honesty, transparency, and respect for others. So delegation, when done correctly, is in fact a sign of good judgment, not a compromise of integrity. It demonstrates an understanding of one's limitations and an awareness of how to maximize the potential of those around them. So the argument from the government rightly highlighted that paying someone to do your job does not necessarily come from a place of negligence, but may be a result of personal issues or factors outside of one's control. So whether it's a family emergency, health concerns, or even mental health challenges, individuals may sometimes find themselves unable to perform at their best or meet specific demands. In these cases, outsourcing or delegating tasks should not be seen as forfeiting responsibility, but rather an approach to managing one's obligations while maintaining the quality of the work being done. So by entrusting others to perform tasks that one is unable to complete due to these personal reasons, an individual is still upholding their responsibility to their organization, family, or community by ensuring that the work is done and is done well. This, in essence, is an act of integrity. Moreover, the act of delegation can benefit others by providing employment opportunities and fostering teamwork. When an individual in a leadership position delegates tasks to others, they are not necessarily trying to shirk their responsibilities. Instead, they are utilizing the skills and strengths of others in a way that helps everyone. For instance, a manager who delegates aspects of a project to various team members is ensuring that the project is carried out efficiently, with each member working within their area of expertise. This is the opposite of avoiding responsibility. It is ensuring that all tasks are performed to the highest possible standard. By paying someone to perform a task, a leader is not just providing a service to themselves, but also to the worker, as it creates employment opportunities, as I said before. Therefore, delegation can be a mutually beneficial arrangement that promotes productivity and positive outcomes for all parties involved. And further extending this point, it is important to recognize that the value of one's time is not infinite. A person's role within a corporate setting or a personal context or as a leader often requires multiple responsibilities that require careful prioritization. It is unrealistic to expect anyone to perform every denied. It is unrealistic to expect anyone to perform every task personally, especially when some tasks might be outside their skill set or expertise. A leader, for example, might delegate certain tasks to others who have specialized skills in those areas. This is not a compromise of integrity. On the contrary, it reflects a sense of responsibility to ensure that the best person is doing the job, which in turn benefits the entire team, the organization, or the entire project. And in many cases, paying someone to do a job that one cannot or should not be expected to do may be the most efficient and effective solution. For example, an executive with significant responsibilities might hire an assistant to handle administrative tasks or outsource marketing efforts to specialists. This does not undermine their integrity. It enhances their efficiency and allows them to focus on the aspects of their job that require their unique expertise. And in conclusion, I'm just going to wrap up everything. Paying someone to do your job does not compromise your integrity, in case you did not get it up until this point. Integrity is about ensuring that responsibilities are met and that tasks are completed to a high standard. Whether due to personal limitations, a desire for greater efficiency, or the need to leverage specialized skills, delegation is an ethical and responsible practice that can create positive outcomes for both individuals and society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. Our next speaker is the opposition member, Mr. Matthew Wright.
Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Now, we're here debating the motion that this House believes that paying someone to do your job does not compromise one's integrity. And myself as opposition member, I stand firmly against this. Let's focus on the argument that, we just heard that delegating tasks is a good sign of leadership and good management. Really no. Well, I would like to say that there is a difference. Well, it depends on whether or not you are the manager of an organization or an individual who was tasked to do one thing. The motion says you're paying someone to do your job, not your team, your job, the individual. There is a major difference between being the boss of an organization and a single individual tasked to do one thing. It really does compromise integrity. Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. So, paying someone to do your job is neither transparent nor ethical. It involves hiding the fact that the work is being performed by someone else when you were the one not taken at this time. You were the one who were hired to do the task. It's really not just good judgment. I'm going to hammer down on the fact that it is dishonesty. True delegation builds trust and fosters teamwork, but secretly outsourcing your responsibilities breaks trust and undermines the integrity of the entire process. All right, taken from Prime Minister.
You're saying that there's some sort of dishonesty with this. So is it something that, someone is dishonest about, asking for help? That seems tricky. That seems like a weird way to put it, because someone asking for help is simply just that, asking for help.
Order, continue.
And do it. So.
Continue speaking, sir.
All right. Thank you for that. So, as I was saying, it is neither transparent nor ethical. So, all right. Now let's move on to my second point as the time rolls on. I'm going to introduce the key issue that has been overlooked. The devaluation of effort and merit. Workplaces function on the principle that has rewards, whether it be salary, promotion, any form of recognition. It should be earned through genuine effort or skill. Now, if you are having someone do your job for you, where is your effort and skill?
Point of information.
All right, go ahead.
you're saying that not delegating, you know, it shows that you are a superhuman? Is that what you're saying? Because not delegating will definitely lead you to burnout. And so we're saying that it's important for you to find someone who's capable of doing the job and have them get it done.
Order. Continue.
Right. So, as I was saying, when you pay someone to do a job that was meant for you, you bypass the hard work and learning necessary to succeed, devaluing the very foundation of merit when the job is complete and you're the one getting the praise, but you didn't do anything. Consider the implications. If someone were to outsource their responsibilities, workplaces would devolve into a transactional economy of task hiring where effort and merit no longer matter. The proposition may argue that outcomes matter more than those who do the work. But here I say, for those of us in the debate and argumentation class, doing the job right is much better than just getting the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, integrity is non-negotiable. It cannot coexist with dishonesty, deception, not taken at this time, or a system that undermines the value of effort and merit. For these reasons, the opposition urges you to reject this motion. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. We're going to hear now from our final speakers in this debate or speeches. We're first going to hear from our government whip, Ms. Chantel Neal.
Good evening, esteemed guests. As government whip, I'd like to begin by first apologizing. What am I apologizing for? I'm apologizing on behalf of my team because for the past 20 minutes, you've sat and you've listened to the opposition's baseless points. Why they're against the motion. Some of the baseless points that they brought up, wasting our time this evening, are maintaining transparency, lack of accountability, lack of standards. Integrity cannot be bought. Accountability. Something is wrong here this evening. And I'm projecting that they are rooting for the world to run on a case of serious burnout. Not at this moment. I'm sure that these points didn't convince you, but have left you more puzzled. Because as students, we know at times that we need to outsource the work because we can't do it all. And for this, I stand with my Prime Minister and my fellow debaters, my team, that this House believes that paying someone to perform one's duty does not compromise one's integrity. Now, we have brought up some points that can be proven. Points such as having the ability of choice. I don't know everything, and neither do you. And so it's important for us in this modern world that we delegate tasks. And these delegating tasks will help us to build interest as presented by our Prime Minister. Another point that was brought up by my team is that delegating or paying someone to get the work done, it fosters more clarity. It presents more experience. It highlights, of course, it propels the person who is doing the work. And so, not at this moment, and so you are actually building the team, enhancing the team which makes you a very rounded person because you are now able to recognize where you're weak and to build that person up, recognizing his or her strengths. Go ahead.
Lean forward.
So you're saying that where you're weak, you want someone to pick up for it. So the question is, where does your growth come from then?
My growth comes from building others up. It builds the team. So I'm not just sitting down trying to do it all on my own. That's why you have a team. I lead from behind. And so when I delegate the task, I delegate because I know that person has the capability of getting it done. Therefore, I'm not just building myself, but I am building the team. It's all about the team, brother. Another point that was brought out from my team is that results are more focused, ensuring that the work is done. And so I'm not just there sitting in my office or in my space trying to do it all alone. There's no I in team. As I put the icing on the cake for this debate and just close off here, and because we all have things to do with our lives, the notion that seeking assistance or delegating tasks inherently compromises integrity is a simplistic and outdated view. In many cases, it is a sign of strength and wisdom to recognize one's limitations and seek support. We must move beyond outdated notions of individual heroism and embrace a more collaborative and nuanced approach to public service.
Thank you so much.
I rest here.
We thank the government whip, Ms. Neal, and we're going to hear from our final speaker for this or match this afternoon, Ms. Jada Jory, our opposition whip.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So while the government has raised points about the efficiency and productivity, they have failed to address the core issue of integrity that lies on the heart of this action. So the Prime Minister began by defining integrity as the quality of being honest and having the ability to choose. But let's be clear, integrity is not about just making choices. It's about being accountable for those choices that you have made. So when you pay someone to do your job, you're responsible for, you are responsible for, you are avoiding the accountability. You are not living up to the standards that we have entrusted you, and compromises integrity. The Deputy Prime Minister suggested that paying someone else is simply a way to get the job done more than efficiently.
Point of information.
Not at this moment. But paying someone else to do your work is not an expression of transparency. It is an evasion of responsibility. Transparency involves being open and honest about your action. If you're paying someone to do your job, you're not being transparent.
Point of information.
And you're not performing what you're supposed to be doing.
Point of information.
Not at this moment. This is a fundamental breach of integrity. So the deputy opposition leader raised an important point about maintaining professional ethical standards. So if we begin to allow people to simply just pay another person for their efforts, this is a dangerous predicament as it undermines the very essence of professional growth and responsibility. Furthermore, the argument that paying someone
So when it's asking someone for help isn't professional? That is the question.
So it's not the asking for the help that is unprofessional, but to render, monetary, to solicit monetary uses or to put money into it, to ask someone to do your job for you. You have to take responsibility for what you were told to be you were said to be doing, right? So that's your responsibility, not someone else's. So furthermore, the argument that paying someone else reflects good judgment and helps increase efficiency in misleading. Efficiency does not come to the expense of personal responsibility. It is true that delegating tasks can be useful in certain contexts, but paying someone to take over your entire role goes beyond delegation. It suggests that the value of the task is less important than the convenience of outsourcing it. When you are entrusted with a job, you are given the responsibility to see it through. Paying someone else to complete your work breaks the trust that was given to you. Integrity is not something that can be outsourced or bought. It is built through consistent efforts, accountability, and willingness to uphold one's obligation. So in conclusion, while the government may argue that paying someone to do your job can be more efficient, the action undermines trust, accountability, and ethical standards. It's not an act of integrity, but an invasion of it. Therefore, this House believes that paying someone to do your job does indeed compromise one's integrity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jory, and thank you to all our debaters. We're going to have a little break while the adjudicators deliberate, and then we will be back with the scores and the rankings. So while the adjudicators will be deliberating, we're going to have the emphasis spotlight. Individuals from different emphases will speak on how integrity impacts their particular field of study. But before we go to that, we're going to have Danae Ellis with an item. And while she comes, the individuals from the various emphases are Janelle Green from the Public Relations emphasis, Chevrina Crooks, Radio, Dana Lee Lawrence, TV, and Yannick Walker, Journalism. Over to you, Ms. Ellis.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As we continue to look at integrity, and with integrity comes growth, I just want to encourage you all to rise up. Rise up, yes. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. You can find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out. Move mountains. I'll rise up high like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up. I'll do it 1,000 times again for you. For you. For you. For you. When the silence isn't quiet
and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. I know you feel like dying, but I promise you you'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, I'll rise up high like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up high like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise and I'll do it again for you, for you, for you, all we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. Oh. We will rise, oh, we will rise. Oh, I'll rise up high like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the age. I'll rise up. I'll do it 1,000 times again for you, for you, for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So for our PR spotlight, integrity and public relations. Now, building trust is something important that we practice as PR practitioners. Integrity forms the foundation of trust, which is essential in public relations. Stakeholders and the public are more likely to trust organizations that act with honesty and transparency. Reputation management. Upholding integrity safeguards our organization's reputation. Misleading or unethical behavior can damage relationships and harm long-term credibility. Ethical decision making. Integrity ensures PR practitioners prioritize ethical considerations, avoiding manipulative tactics that could misrepresent their clients or harm their audience. And my final point, consistency in messaging. Integrity requires that public statements align with an organization's actions. This consistency reinforces reliability and accountability. So as PR practitioners, we are to have integrity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so integrity versus incentive. What is your price? And I'd like to ask this question, even if you're not a radio emphasis, you can answer just the same. What would you do to keep radio alive? Would you bend the truth for ratings, or would you stay true to the soul of the sound? What would you do to keep radio alive? Anybody? All right. Radio, oh sweet radio, the heartbeat of the airwaves, the voice of the nation. From the hills of Blue Mountain to Kingston Station, it's the vibe that wakes you, the tune that takes you through traffic jams and quiet nights, through reggae rhythms and cultural fights. But tell me, what is your price? When the sponsors come knocking with a shiny deal, do you play their jingle and forget how you feel? Do you trade truth for hype, fact or fiction, chasing incentives with reckless conviction? In Jamaica, radio is more than a stream. It's the pulse of the people, the sound of a dream. But when integrity slips, the trust fades fast and the legacy of radio struggles to last. So what would you choose, a quick payday or the pride of knowing you kept it real every day? This segment is brought to you by Integrity Incorporated, because in a world full of noise, honesty is still the loudest voice. Remember, folks, you can't buy trust with a $sign. So, to the crowd, radio is not dying, it's evolving, but for it to thrive, we, the voices behind the mic, must make the choice daily. Will we keep it authentic, keep it meaningful, and keep it Jamaican? The airwaves are yours to shape, but integrity is a frequency we cannot afford to lose. So I ask again, what is your price? That's it for Radio Emphasis.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, for journalism emphasis, as journalists, we are storytellers who dig for the truth. Report the facts and keep the public informed, which also holds the powerful accountable. And without this, without integrity, we can't have this. So, today I have 4 points: foundation of trust, accountability, avoidance of conflict of interests, and ethical decision making. So, for foundation of trust, integrity ensures that journalists build and maintain trust with their audience. So readers, viewers, and listeners rely on journalists to ensure that we present factual, unbiased, and accurate information. Secondly, accountability. Journalists with integrity take responsibility for their work, acknowledging errors and correcting them transparently to uphold credibility. Thirdly, upholding integrity means avoiding situations where personal or financial incentives might compromise the truth or objectivity of reporting. And lastly, integrity guides journalists in making tough calls, ensuring that their decisions align with ethical standards, even when it is inconvenient or costly. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So when I was younger, I had this cousin. She was always hell-bent on doing exactly the opposite of what mommy said. So when mommy said go up the road and turn left, she turned right. But every time we did this, there was somebody watching, somebody looking along, and we would always get catch. Now, this is an example of the things we face in television. Ever so often, we're faced with temptations like shortcuts. So we bend corners on quality work, or we bend the truth for greater ratings, or even sabotage somebody else's work to reach where we want to reach. And that's exactly what my cousin did. Taking the left turn when we should have taken the right one. Integrity is that right turn. It might not be the easiest path, and sometimes it takes longer, but it's the one that keeps us grounded. I know for a fact that most of us here, matter of fact, raise your hand if you've ever been in a situation so hard, and when you look, you see people taking the shortcut, but you know if you take the shortcut, gotta go use as example. This just goes to show that shortcuts don't always lead to where you want to go, and you will face some serious penalties. The price we had to pay was one you can probably guess. We get a proper beating that day, but it was not worth it. So within your productions, within your spaces, work, whatever you're doing, stick to the right path and watch how you blossom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Should I give the rankings first? All right. So do you want me to do it first to fourth or fourth to first? Okay, so in fourth place we have opening government. In third place we have closing government. In second place we have opening opposition, and in first place we have closing opposition. Our best speaker for this match is Matthew Wright. Somebody in the audience is very, very happy, and it's not Matthew. Okay, so let me just give you a little synopsis of the adjudicators' conversation. So we feel like the government did not fully comprehend what the motion was asking of you. So the motion was not asking for a manager-worker relationship and analyzing the delegation that occurs between both, but it wanted you to look at, as a worker, is it okay for a worker to siphon off his responsibilities to somebody else? And what, in that kind of relationship, is it justified? So we're not talking about a manager delegating tasks to their workers. Because in the real world, that is fine. Nobody has an issue with that. The issue that persons have is if a worker gets a task and they ask somebody else, pay somebody else to do it. And so this caused both teams on the government side to fall down. The opposition, however, comprehended the requirements of the motion, especially the closing opposition. They specifically honed in on what such an impact would have, not just on the workspace, but on merit. And we understand how crucial merit is to the whole functioning of a workspace, which is why we would have given closing opposition the first place. Thank you so much to all our debaters for this evening. And thank you so much to the audience. Clap yourself, clap yourself. Technical team, clap yourself, clap yourself. All right, as we close, everybody stand. We're going to sing the DCS song. Y'all don't know your DCS song? Come on, go sing. Yeah, somebody who has a singing voice is going to sing the DCS. Somebody going to come up here, come and help me sing, because I don't sing. I don't do the singing thing. Okay, it's going to be played. Oh.
dip on me full of ecstasy.
DCS.